Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 44 of my story. So, with everything that's going on at this time, I'm finally receiving word that I am summoned to the Eastern District of Texas for a arraignment. So, at this time, I travel to the Eastern District of Texas with my family support, and I am arraigned in Texas, which these proceedings went fairly very, very easy and smooth. I basically stood up. They read the charges to me, the indictment to me, and basically I was told by my attorney to plead not guilty at that time. So at this point, I have received notice from the Eastern region that I need to come down and go over some paperwork with my attorney. And so I report back to the Eastern District of Texas to speak with my attorney and go over some paperwork. And so as I'm going over this paperwork, I think it's some kind of proffer. And I'm basically telling them, hey, a lot of this stuff in here is untrue, it's not true. And so I'm not signing these papers. And so my attorney is basically saying, well, everything in here doesn't have to be true because as you can see, it's this person named that person. Like people I don't even know names is in this. And it's basically tying me into a conspiracy saying knowingly and unknowingly. And I don't like that. And so I'm basically saying, well, this is absolutely not true. Like, why is this even in here? And so he's saying, okay, well, you don't have to sign it. I'm going to go and sit down with the United States Attorney, the AUSA, and speak with them and see what they actually really do have. Because I don't think they really have anything on you, not as much as they have on the other people and the people with these accounts. And so I agree with him. I was like, okay, well, just get back with me once you speak to someone. Well, eventually I'm summoned now to the Southern District of Florida. So I'm going out there to sit down with my attorney and talk to her and go over my case that's pending out there. Because at this time, these cases haven't been drafted together yet. So I go over to the Southern District of Florida. I'm meeting with my attorney and we're going over this information that they have. And I'm noticing multiple inconsistencies in these stories. And so I'm basically saying the same thing. Like a lot of this stuff is untrue, can't be found because I don't know this person. I don't know what this person was doing. All I know is my part of the story. That's the part that I want to tell. My part of the story, what I know. I did do this. I did engage in these crimes, but I did not initially know that it was a crime. I was told that this was a private company that specialized in this. I talked to United States attorneys. I talked to lawyers. I talked to all these different people. But at the same time, even if I did break the law, it was unknowingly. My attorney then agrees with me. And she says, you know what? I'm going to reach out to the AUSA over here and talk to her to see if we can come in for a meeting. Well, eventually this meeting does happen. So I'm told that I'm going in for a meeting called a queen for the day. So anything that I say in these proceedings, allegedly, it's not supposed to be used against me in a court of law. So I now fly out to the southern region of Florida, which is Miami. And I'm meeting with my attorney who's out of Fort Lauderdale. She's driven down to Miami to meet with me. We're having lunch. We're going over the paperwork. And I'm basically ready to go in here and talk to the United States attorney is what I'm thinking. That it's just going to be me, her, and the United States attorney at this time. And so I'm going in for this queen for a day practice, whereas I'm able to talk to them, tell them things, and they're not supposed to use this against me. Anything that I say that could incriminate myself, they're not supposed to be able to use any of this information against me. So I go into this meeting and I notice automatically that we have one of the arresting agents from Texas on a TV monitor. There's the person that's absolutely ready to prosecute me in this meeting. The AUSA is there. The United States attorney is there. And there's other people in this room with me and my attorney. And so we sit down and this meeting probably takes place for maybe 2.5, maybe even 3 hours. And so at this time, we're going over the complete case, how I got involved, and then they start asking me questions. The first question they want to know is, where is the rest of the money? And so I'm confused. I'm basically telling them there is no rest of the money. And so they're like, so you're telling me that all of the money is gone? And I'm saying, yes, I'm telling you that all the money is gone. You didn't see him in the strip club storing the money. You didn't see, the lifestyle that he was living. There is no money. And so they nod their heads. And then they start asking me questions that started kind of pissing me off. They started saying, so what were your two daughters' involvement? And so I'm like, my two daughters, like, what are you talking about? My two daughters are in high school. So at this point, the super agent, the cameraman, has went around and has been cooperating with these people for years and has been reporting back to them every 24 hours. And I come with receipts. And so He has been cooperating with them, and he's trying to clear himself in every which way that he can by contacting multiple witnesses, multiple people names who have come up and basically telling them to say my name and my now ex-husband name. And so I'm giving them this information, basically saying, this is untrue. That never happened. They're asking me questions about other crimes that are taking place. What do I know about this extortion situation and things like that? Well, I didn't come here to talk to y'all about the extortion situation. And honestly, y'all should know everything that's going on with that. So I'm not elaborating on the extortion situation. Well, so also in this meeting, they bring into play these federal documents with these seals, with the envelopes that have United States Justice Department on them. And so I'm telling them, this is not my work. I did not do this. This did not come from me. And so they said, well, who did these documents? And so I basically tell them, it was not me that did these documents. It was his other baby mom that did these documents. She works at the feds. In some kind of way, I went to the mailbox one day, the P.O. box, to pick up some papers that he said was going to be there, and I opened them up. And when I opened them up, that's when I seen the Department of Justice on them. And I noticed on the top envelope, it was from USPS, and it had her name attached to it. And so when I opened up these documents, he was very, very upset with me, asking me why did I open them? It wasn't my business. And he telling me that basically she works with the government as well. Well, I've already known her to work for the federal government as an officer. I didn't know that she was doing work with this company at that time. And so, in the midst of everything that has been going on, my Texas and both Florida attorneys have gotten together and filed motions in both Texas and Florida, which will grant me the right, if approved by a judge, to be able to communicate with my husband as a co-defendant. I received a phone call that everything has been approved and that I can now communicate with him. So at that time, my attorney also tells me to be very careful what I say over the phone. And just remember that in Florida, that they're very notorious from taking conversations that mean nothing and turning them into something that's big. And she absolutely was almost against me even being able to communicate with him. But since it was my wish and my will, they went ahead and they presented the paperwork to the courts, and the courts did not deny that. So eventually I give my daughter the okay to go ahead on and tell him he can contact me and send me an email request. So he immediately contacts me that day. On that day in question, me and him were having a normal conversation. He's asking about the children. He's asking about everything at home. And he then goes into telling me how much he loves me and he needs me. The same story that he told me all those years before. And so I'm basically saying, you don't love me. I'm in all this trouble because of you. And he's saying, don't worry about it. I got you. Don't worry about it. You're not going to get none. You're not going to catch this case. They just doing this to you for right now. And so I'm like, what do you mean they're doing this to me for right now? And so basically, he's just basically acting like, they're holding me out there like some bait. So he goes on to tell me that he needs me to contact one of the arresting agents. And so I'm like, well, what would I be contacting the arresting agent for? And so he's telling me he's already spoken with everybody, but that I need to speak with the arresting agent, that he has the information, that I'm the only person that can help him,